play Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell with 8 new prospects, including 2 of the hottest hitters in baseball. I tell you whether you should buy or not. A player of the week at each level, including an 18-year-old number 1 draft pick, a possible new to the Bigs favorite who I cannot wait to talk more about. I dive into my favorite prospect in all of baseball and talk about a scorching past few weeks after I told you to stay calm. 5 AMA questions, including one that tells you how the Bowman market will react to a possible lockout next year. And we give our most recent Bowman buys from the dugout of a minor league field. I cannot wait to show you guys more about that. All of that and more on episode 8. This is your MLB prospect show, The Farm Report. The past week has been crazy. I went to a Jersey Shore Blue Claws game. You'll see actually the hats. I'm going to start collecting hats from every game I go to, prospects I talk to. But I got to do the Jersey Shore Blue Claws, which is the high A Phillies against the high A Red Sox. It was awesome. Saw a couple good homers, prospects I've been wanting to see. The next day was even better. Drove up to Binghamton, New York, and got to spend a day with the Rumble Ponies. That is the AA Mets. The guys out there were so awesome. Thank you guys, seriously. Matt and Cam, you guys were great on the PR side and really hooked us up. And I got to speak to 2 really good prospects that I've been a big fan of. Jonathan Santucci, starting pitcher for the Mets, and Chris Suero, catcher for the New York Mets. And I got to interview Chris Suero. Both of these interviews are out on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, everywhere. And one of the things I really wanted to talk about was, to the Bigs, you Bowman fans, you're going to see plenty of Bowman content, right? Buy, hold, sell, value buys, guys I'm buying, all of that. But what I'm going to keep doing is diving into the players and really getting to know the prospects that I talk about, not just on the website, not just on Instagram, but on this show. And why I do that is because I just was talking about it the other day. There are players behind the piece of cardboard, right? If you weren't investing in a player, go do Pokemon or whatever else you're going to do, which I'm sure some of you do. But what you have to understand is not just the analysis from the performance, the players, the numbers, the metrics, but there's a certain mental and emotional and work ethic that goes into these prospects, and the ones that make it versus the ones that don't. And I want to get to know these guys to be able to shed more light on the prospects that you guys are putting all your money in and investing in and all of that. So I got to speak to Suero and Santucci. I'm not just going to talk to prospects or any first one that I can get my hands on to speak to. I want to speak to the prospects that I cover. I've been covering Suero for a while. Santucci made my top pitching prospect buys list from earlier this year. So I want to talk to the guys who I really know. That way I can ask them the questions and understand exactly what I want to talk to them about so that you guys can know why I like these kids so much. And both those interviews showed me exactly why. Santucci, just straightforward, focused, locked in, lifts on the weekends and off days. Chris Suero, just super focused on being the best version of himself, winning for the team, playing where he needs to play, and he's been scorching hot. So keep checking out those interviews just as much as you check out the Farm Report and all this other stuff. I cannot thank you enough. I have so much more coming with these prospects and everything. But enough about that. We're at the Farm Report, which means you've watched the first 7 episodes. You know what's coming next. Quick hits. Let's jump right into it. Man, I got a lot of names that you guys have been asking for, so let's go right off the bat. Murf Gray, Pittsburgh Pirates. Everyone, including this one guy who is snapping at me in my DMs for not bringing him up yet, so I'm doing it. He's having a fantastic year. 60 games across 2 levels, 1.055 OPS, 18 homers. He's a big kid. He's also a Cape Cod League breakout star. I've been to the Cape Cod League. I plan on going again soon. A lot of fun, a lot of good prospects you get to see up close in a really cool setting. Guys at his size generally come with chase issues, but again, a college kid, super experienced. He's not chasing much at all. He swings at 1 out of every 3 balls outside the zone, which may seem like a lot, but for comparison, that's similar to the rate of Colt Emerson, who is a star hitting prospect in the bigs now. So of course, let's see what happens in AA, but a good college bat nonetheless, and we'll get more into that. Speaking of good college bats, Jared Jones, LSU, and now Pittsburgh Pirates as well, coming in our Bowman value buys, Bowman buys from the field as well, so you'll hear more about it. A good college bat. The K rate is high, but he's got such good average and OPS that literally anytime he puts the ball in play, he's either on base or circling the bases. He's on the IL real quick, but he'll be back, and I think he'll get called up to AA fairly soon, and we'll see how he does, given that he'll try and be an aggressive mover as a college bat. Let's stay in division. Steele Hall, he was an expensive, one of my most expensive buys on Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell in episode 7. Why? He's showing it. 36 games, 21 extra base hits, 419 OBP. He could be one of those sneaky fast risers, like I said, that kind of just shoots up and jumps up the list. He was the 9th overall pick this past year as a shortstop in the NL Central. Who was the 9th pick shortstop NL Central in the year's prior draft? Connor Griffin, Pittsburgh Pirates. So just keep an eye out for a shortstop that could jump up quicker. Next up, Andrew Fischer. He was my player of the week last week, and since he got called up to Double-A, 930 OPS in 4 games, 2 homers. K rate and the defense stay the focus. This is a pro bat sooner rather than later. I'm not too worried about the defense, but again, is he going to be third baseman? Most likely move over to first, and then just get that K rate down from the 30s where he needs to be in like the 20s to show that pop can develop in the higher levels. He will stay at Double-A for a little while, so let him get comfortable. Don't rush him up to the pros, everybody. You guys are all excited, I get it, but he needs a little bit of time. Let him work through these things. He'll be just fine. Next up, Josue Paula. When it comes to my favorite superstar potential hitting prospects, there's 3 of them. It's Paula, Rainiel Rodriguez, and Leo DeVries. Josue DePaula, I said it 100 times. You probably heard this by now. I may have to trademark it or something. He's Yordan Alvarez with speed. Tall, lefty, power, hits, walks, doesn't strike out, monster power upside. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm making every single prospect available at the deadline besides JDP, Josue DePaula, Mike Sirota, and Charles Dowland. And that's still a ton of talent. Without those 3 guys, they'd still probably have a top organization for a farm system in baseball. So let's see what happens, but DePaula is the real deal. Next up, Yoferi Rodriguez, Boston Red Sox, high A. I talked about it. I went to the Jersey Shore Blue Claws game. I got to see Yoferi, and he put one into the seats before I could even sit down. The pop is exciting for a smaller kid. He hit that ball super hard, pulled it right over the right field fence. He already doubled his home run total from last season, but the hit tool hasn't been as good since he was traded from Milwaukee middle of last year. So let's see what he's got. Hold on to him and see what happens over the course of the next few months this summer. Another Boston Red Sox prospect, bigger name, Franklin Arias, hit his first homer after a 17-game drought. I'm not worried. Anyone who's freaking out, early episodes, I think it was episode 1 or 2 or 3, I said that the power would calm down when people were like, whoa, this is a monster power bat now. How could that be? But that doesn't change my perspective on him. I've loved him regardless. His bread and butter is being a good hitter. So he's still got a 580 slugging, 14 homers in 57 games. So any pop is just a bonus. This is a really good hitter who's going to be a professional shortstop, and I actually think he'll get the call later this year. Next up, I told you I'm sticking with the big names for this episode, so you guys get everyone you need. Theo Gillen just got promoted. 30% hard hit rate and the power are what's most intriguing to me. Really, it's kind of out of nowhere. Anyone who says, oh, we saw this coming, come on. It's really great, though. He's fighting me since I said to sell for a profit earlier on. He was a sell for me. But again, it was nothing against him, and we'll talk more about that in one of the AMA questions. I'm not selling because I don't believe in him. You just have to take that premium sometimes, where some guys may never get that premium ever because of all the hype and all of that. Let's see how he does in Double-A and whether or not that in-game power can continue against that jump to Double-A. I feel like I'm going back to back with the big names that you guys asked me for. Eric Hartman, Atlanta Braves. This guy is intriguing. You've all heard of him already. Don't have to really explain. That's probably one of the best minor league teams in the country. Rome Emperors, which is the high A Atlanta Braves, next to the Brewers Double-A and the Dodgers high A. Plenty of them prospects we've talked about from both of those. I'm actually going to see them live next week. They play the Jersey Shore Blue Claws down here. Really good division. I'm really excited. That team is really good. Hartman, Carey, Southacene, Caminiti, Briggs, McKenzie, and I'm going to be interviewing one of those guys. So I'm really excited. Again, prospects that I cover, not just ones that I can get my hands on to interview. When I see Hartman live, I'm really excited to see his at-bats, see how he flows, how his approach is. Again, I always like to wait. I don't like to buy the top 3 most mentioned prospects in baseball. Market's booming, his premium is super expensive. So, just see what happens. But again, really exciting prospect. I can't wait to see him live. Next up, 2 international guys that I've consistently called out. Johnny Level, San Francisco Giants, and Luis Arana on the Miami Marlins. Both of them have an identical OPS at 944. Both were hit first. Level has developed that pop already. We've seen it. Arana is quietly developing it. One of my 2026 Bowman baseball chases. He wasn't on many lists, but he was on mine. Why? Because he's a hit first international kid, came over stateside and looks good. Arana has an 18% walk rate to a 14% K rate in A-ball. At 18 years old, sign me up. Charlie Condon, we talked about him since episode 1. I know that for a fact. The call-up should be any day now, just like Carrick. Bring him up. Carrick looks good. Condon will look good. In June, he's looked even better, Condon. Sub 20% K rate, which is the most important, I think. But if you want to get all excited, in 17 games, 6 homers and 21 RBI, which is nuts. But sub 20 K rate, so that's what I want to see. Get him up and let him experience the pro level. Now we jump to two of the big's favorites, names that you guys know. And even though I've mentioned a few that already kind of are, these are the true favorites. First off, who are you going to say? The best pure hitter in the minor leagues. I'll say it over and over and over and over and over again. Mike Sirota. 58 game on base streak. That's insane. A 1.040 OPS, 20% walk rate. This might be one of the quickest AA stints in recent history. If he keeps this up, he should get called up soon to AAA, and then probably this could be a guy, actually, I'm thinking about it right now. I didn't even have this in my notes. He may be one of those guys that goes from straight to AA to the pros, because I don't really see what AAA is going to do for him. He's already 23. He's ready to go. So let's see what happens. That may be a bold prediction of mine. Alfredo Duño, 20 in high A, 34% hard hit rate, a 518 slugging. The K rate is what he needs to work on. We know this. I think AA comes soon, and then he'll probably stay there for a while, if not the whole season. So let's see. 2 Milwaukee Brewers. I talked about the high A team being one of the best and the AA teams being one of the best. These guys have split up now, but maybe not for long. Braylon Payne and Josh Adamszewski. Braylon Payne and Josh are both top 30 in OPS across all minor leaguers under 25 years old. I'm going to talk more on the Brewer system in the AMA question, so I'll save that for that one. Jason Churio, my AA player of the week last week, having the year I wanted him to have in 2025. When I said that my bold prediction was he'd win minor league baseball player of the year. That's how excited I was about him last year, and he didn't really come. He was unhealthy, didn't figure it out. 80% contact rate, 1-to-1 walk to K. That's normal. He does it all the time. 430 OBP. That's normal too. But 500 slugging, that's what I wanted to see, was that power development. And if he could do that, he'll move up fast too. And I really, really like him. Still one of my favorite, underrated value prospects in all of the sport, which he probably won't be for long. I knew he was going to jump up to a top 100 prospect, but I thought it was going to be last year. It's happening this year. Next up, how about another Cleveland Guardian hit first, Juniker Caceres. Power's coming. There's some pop there. He's hitting extremely well. I've been calling him out since episode 1. He's going to be top 50, top 75 prospect. I really hope you listened and bought in early on, because there's a lot more people talking about him and analysts talking about him than I see. So really hope you guys are getting in on him. And speaking of a guy who you still have time to get in on, but is a value buy, Hayden Alvarez. Been talking about him a lot. Los Angeles Angels, 19 in A-ball. Value buy outside of top 250 buy, which he's not outside the top 250 anymore, and he's not going to be outside the top 100 for much longer. 920 OPS. He's hitting near 300, and the K rate is dropping as a young kid. Buy in on him. One of my only Angels prospects I've liked for a long time. Hitting prospects. I like Bremner as a pitcher as well. To the big call outs of the past. We like doing this every episode now. I think it's good to kind of bring up some guys I've continued to bring up or just recently brought up and want to make you aware. Welby and Francisca, my number one bounce back candidate going into the year. And that's what he's showing. 3 homers and 12 RBI in 11 games. One of those guys that could always hit. The metrics last year looked like he struggled, but the underlying metrics were sneaky. He was hitting the ball hard, straight line drives, making good contact, and I think we're going to start seeing that get put together this year. And then he just hit a grand slam. He's really getting himself comfortable, and watch him make that leap this year. Next up, he was a name to watch on last week's. That's why I like to do the favorites, call outs, and new names, because a lot of them will start to move into each one as they get better and better. Kason Cunningham of the Arizona Diamondbacks, 22% hard hit rate, which doesn't seem crazy hard, but this is a guy who was supposed to have 0 pop, and now he's starting to show a little power and hard hit rate. So nearing 500 slugging percentage. Can he develop that pop and in-game power consistently? If so, he'll fly. Next up, Hector Rodriguez, my AAA player of the week last episode, somehow got even hotter since I called him out. He had the next day, I think very next day after the episode, the hit for the cycle. The next day he had 2 more homers or 3 more homers. He's been absolutely lights out. He should get the call. Another one of those guys needs to figure it out defensively, but the Reds will find a spot for him, especially since they've kind of been up and down struggling in the beginning of this summer. Next up, Kadam Diao, Minnesota Twins catcher. I called him out of my value buys this winter. Why? Because he's such a good hit tool prospect, international prospect, called up to AA. Loved him in my value buys this winter because of that reason, and that's what he's doing this year. 300 average, 850 OPS in A+. In his first 5 games in AA, he's 6 for 17. Him and Hendry Mendez are 2 prospects that were hit first in the Twins org. Mendez was a sleeper of mine. He's not anymore. Kadam Diao is a sleeper still, so get on him. Finally, Ryan Weidman. Shout out to Brian Vance on Instagram. He's been such a follower for To The Bigs, an awesome follower. We talk a bunch about prospects. He got an in-person view and validated everything I said a few episodes ago when I gave him a buy rating in Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell. Just a good hitter, controls the field, great in center field, fast, athletic, tall, big. In June, he's got a 950 OPS. The K rate's down. He's got 8 RBI, 10 stolen bases in 15 games. The goal now, he just got called up, fly through A+ at 22 years old and get to AA where he can settle himself for the year. New names to keep an eye on. Quickly, Sean Keys, Toronto third baseman, 1,000 OPS and 33% hard hit rate. Someone to keep an eye on. Demetrio Crisantes. I love his name. Second, I think I call an Arizona Diamondback in every new names to keep an eye on every episode so far. Last week's was Case and Cunningham. This kid has been really good, really high floor hit tool, slugging above 600 and showing some pop, even though he's coming back from a shoulder injury, a pretty long one as well. So if you can keep that in game power up, this is a high floor hit tool that, again, him and Cunningham could shoot up really quickly into top prospects in all of baseball. And finally, how about a deep cut? Hector Rosario, Texas Rangers, 21 years old and A+, 980 OPS across 2 levels. Most importantly, an 11% K rate and a 16% fly ball to home run ratio. This guy can hit hard and he doesn't strike out at all. That's what I want to see. So someone to keep an eye on. Don't jump in just yet. Let's see if it can stay consistent. Player of the week at each level. We're looking at stats since June 10th. And like I said, last week's were Andrew Fischer, Jason Churio, Hector Rodriguez. And since, they've been insane for 2 weeks after the fact. So may want to write these guys down. The first one is fairly obvious, so I'll talk, and maybe the third one too, but I'm really excited to talk about AA. So high A and A. Number 1 overall pick, 18 years old, Eli Willits. He's showing that number 1 overall pick value. I initially did not see the upside being that drastic with the power and all of that. But again, that's me taking kind of a bit of a conservative feeling towards young international kids, and in Willett's case, young prep kids. But he's showing it. He got called up to A+ as an 18-year-old and has a 1.20 OPS, 5 homers, 5 stolen bases in 10 games since June 10th. He made my end of 2027 Nationals roster for To The Bigs Insiders, where I predict end of 2027 rosters, aka going into 2028, who I think will be starting at each position. That's super aggressive. I know he'd only be 20 years old with 2 years under his belt as a prep kid, but he's showing everything why he could eventually do that. If this kid can hit really well in A+ and just get that late season promo to AA, next year could be a year where he spends 90% of the time in AA and eventually gets that late call up. Let's see. He'd be one of those fast movers, but the Nationals said they wanted to compete in 2028, so why not? Next up, this one I'm really, really excited about, AA. Cam Canarella, Miami Marlins. Now, Bowman fans, I'm sorry he doesn't have a Bowman yet. Will he be in Bowman Chrome coming up? I think so. Listen to this. 87% contact rate, 440 OBP, a near 1-to-1 walk-to-K ratio. Since June 10th, he's got a 1.160 OPS with 2 homer, 10 RBI, 14 hits in 10 games. This is a pure hitter. Like, this kid can hit. But he's got a big lefty swing that has some pop. So he drives straight, hard contact, doesn't try and do too much, but there's power there. So this is a guy who, this is my first time calling him out. He may be on that To The Bigs, I told you, rising up. He may be on that To The Bigs favorites list by next episode. I mean, this is a really exciting guy. If you watch the tape, I'll share some on my social media when I post him this clip, because I will inevitably post this as a clip once he keeps this up after the episode drops. Really, really exciting prospect. When he's in a checklist, he will become a top chase of mine. I really, really like this kid. Super excited. Can't talk more about him, but I will. Next up, AAA. Probably, again, a more obvious one, but I have to give it to him. Joshua Baez, St. Louis Cardinals, 10 games, 1.150 OPS, 7 homers, and 16 RBI since June 10th. Insane. But the most important, which sounds crazy, 21% K rate over that time, which is down significantly. The depth chart is tough over there in St. Louis. The team is actually performing really well. Blaze Jordan just cracked his way into it. The outfield is tight. So let's see what happens with Baez. But if he keeps that K rate down, they got to bring him up and give him a shot. Those are your quick hits and players of the week at each level. Remember, last week, the player of the week crushed it afterwards. So keep an eye on those 3 guys. Reminder, To The Bigs Insiders, come join us. We're having such a good time. Again, you get exclusive content. Ranking my June call-ups, I gave that to insiders first, so they saw all those kids, and a bunch of them already got called up. Then I dropped the predicting 2027 future rosters part 1, and then my favorites and sleepers per team part 1, where I called out a ton of sleeper prospects for some of the biggest teams. And I'll be doing part 2 of that series next week, when the off week of the episode. So you get all that content, but the biggest thing you get as a To The Bigs insider, not even just that, you also get to be the first ones to recommend prospects for the show. So a lot of the guys I mentioned, I will make sure I mention guys that you guys call out as insiders, and then Instagram AMA and the Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell candidates. I always go to Instagram as well. Of course, I want to hear you guys, but again, first priority are some of the insiders that give me some prospects that they want to cover. So you get mentioned and get called out for prospects that you collect. And most importantly, getting back to that, join the Discord. There's about 50 members right now. We have so much fun. We talk about prospects. We talk about games we're going to. We talk about recommendations. Are you buying or selling? We have a sales thread. We have an off-topic thread just talking about things, ways that we can help each other and all of that. Come join us. The link is in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Follow the Farm Report playlist, but also join the insiders. We're having a ton of fun. It's like $4 a month or $30 for the year, which ends up being like $2 a month. $250. So come join us. It's a ton of fun. Hold on. Last week I was not that thrilled to have this, but I'm hearing the sound. I hear it. It's coming. Yep, it is officially the Rainiel Rodriguez tracker. Now again, I talked to you about it last episode. He was just called up to AA, a few weeks, struggling. Everyone was like, whoa, I'm nervous, all of this. 19-year-old in AA. And what did I say? I said, patience on the call up, not just for him, for any prospect that's young that's getting called up. You give them time. Last 2 weeks, 1.20 OPS. I want to give you the whole slash: 410, 500, 692, 3 homers, 6 RBI, and 16 hits in 9 games. 13% K rate on an 110 game pace, which is generally what a minor league prospect will get. 17 homers, 70 RBIs. If you remember why I'm doing the tracker, or if you're new here, I made a bold prediction at the beginning of the year that said when he was in high A that he would hit 35 homers this year and get called up and end the season in AAA as a 20-year-old. Of course, he got called up to AA, which means we're ahead of schedule because he's got plenty of time in AA. He was really behind on the homers, but like I said, he had 3 of them this week, so he's jumped up his average projection to 17. So he's not at the 35 yet. He'd have to go on a really big run, but he looks really, really good. Top 2, top 3 prospect in all of baseball. He's been that way for a while for me. He's catching up on a lot of others. So just to give you the full slate: 845 OPS, 32% hard hit rate, 21% K rate, 8 homers, 35 RBIs. Love it. So exciting. Everything we want to see. Watch him continue to get really hot this summer. Next up, our cover segment. When we went to Binghamton, I'm rocking the Binghamton. You're surprised I'm not wearing my To The Big shirts, which I always wear for this show. I am rocking the Binghamton Rumble Pony shirt because we had such a great time, not only interviewing the players, but we did a ton of content from the field. So me and my buddy Stags, who's also part of To The Bigs here, did a segment on the field where we talked about our most recent buys. To note, we took a 2.5-hour drive up to Binghamton from New Jersey, New York area, and that whole time we were looking at eBay, talking about prospects, having fun. So check out the clip. It's a lot of fun. We talk about some of the guys we're buying, a lot of names that you may have heard of, and some you haven't yet. So listen in. Who are we buying recently? So we're talking Bowman prospects, right? We want to talk about some of the guys. I know all you guys that follow us, we love doing the prospect development, but let's talk some cards, baby. Who's someone you just bought?
There's 2 big guys I just bought. Number 1 for me, Jared Jones at LSU. I just love my college hitters coming fresh out of College World Series. They are going against battle-tested pitchers.
Yep.
They already have that in-game, ready to go swing.
Yep.
And you're already seeing it show for Jared Jones. In high A, he's hitting 320, 10 home runs, 25 RBIs. He just went to the IL today, so if you're going to buy, this is the time to buy because you're not going to be seeing him hit for a couple weeks. So his prices might dip a little bit, but this is the perfect time to get in on Jared Jones.
What's crazy is these college guys that are the professional, almost professional ready hitters, they don't get as much love in the hobby.
No.
Everyone wants the young 18-year-old international kid. They want the young kid who was drafted, like Seth Hernandez, who's a stud, obviously, but the kid who's like super high potential. But these high college bats, look at Nick Kurtz, look at Bazana, look how quickly they move up the systems. So you get a guy like Jared Jones, who was a stud at LSU. These are real guys. I love me a guy who's a good hit tool,
college bat with career progress in the NCAA levels. So super exciting to see. I like him. That's a good pick.
What about who's your number one right now?
Oh man, two of the Bigs fans, man. You guys know. Rainier Rodriguez, what did I say? He was called up from A+ to AA. The biggest thing that I was worried about, or that people were worried about, is a guy gets cold for 2 weeks when he gets sent up to a new level. It takes time. So anyone who was nervous, that's when you buy. So you should go get Rainier. But I actually, it's too late, because now he's already crushing again. Last few weeks, he's been smashing the ball, multi-homer games, extra base hits. OPS is shooting up the roof. So you have a guy like that. Don't get nervous when they're down. Go buy them when they're down. Just like stocks, you want to buy them when they're low. So Rainier Rodriguez was a big one. Cooper Engel, I talk about all the time. He's ready for the big leagues. Just went 4 for 4 yesterday with 3 homers, like 15 total bases. So an absolute stud. So I'm buying some of those guys too. Really like good hitting. We know we like good hitters into the big, so we know that that's the case. So Rainier, Jared Jones, quick flyer, who's a little underdog. I heard, we talked about it on the way up here.
Yeah, the long 2.5 hour drive, so did a lot of research.
Little eBay finagling,
yeah,
what did you get?
eBay finagling. This guy's a deep sleeper. Caden Powell on the Houston Astros. High A, hitting 318, 5 home runs. You're seeing the power uptick. He's hitting the ball in play. His strikeout rate's a little high at 31%, but hey, you still like to see the average is above 310. So that's someone I'm buying into. Again, that college profile was National JUCO Player of the Year. So again, he forego his, I think it was Oklahoma State. So he was getting looked at from really big schools and went and took the Houston Astros draft money to go into the league. Again, so that's someone I'm really leaning in and excited to watch him grow, especially in that Houston Astros organization. How many times do we say organizational success is where you want to buy into, and that's a good one to have.
And show off a little bit. What card you get? Because it's a pretty damn good card.
We got a nice orange color match. I'll be sharing it in the Discord once it comes.
True orange Houston Astros color match. Beautiful card. Good NCAA hitter. Stud. I loved it.
Stud. Give me your
my quick flyer. Man, I have so many. But how about this? From my first sleepers and favorites pick write-up that was for To The Bigs Insiders exclusively. So if you join the Insiders, you got access to 10 sleeper prospects that I picked from the first 5 teams: Dodgers, Mariners, Yankees, a couple others, Athletics. But if you follow us, join To The Bigs Insiders, in the next 5 teams, you're gonna get access to it. So you'll know who to buy before a video like this drops. We dropped this last week, so the Insiders are loading up. But I'm gonna go, I just posted them. Caden Kent, shortstop for the New York Yankees, recent draft pick. Jeff Kent, family ties, so you got Hall of Famer and you got a good hit tool. And this is a kid that's always had a good hit tool. There's a little power there. It's getting there. We'll see. But again, a lot of people see him as like a utility type of kid. 6'2", hitting 315, not striking out that much, walking a nice rate, and like there's some pop there. It's not all the way there in the in-game power yet that he's showing off, but there's a lot of raw power there that can be transitioned into in-game power. And that's what we want to see. We just talked about it. Good hitters that develop power, not the other way around. It's so much more likely that a good hitter develops power than a power hitter learns how to hit as he goes up levels. So again, you look at all these guys we talked about, everything they have in common, good hitters.
And where was he last June? College World Series.
College World Series, exactly.
Competitive baseball, late in May, early May, June.
Now don't get it wrong. We like ourselves some young, international, exciting guys. Kevin Alvarez, Houston Astros, Juniker Caceres for the Cleveland Guardians, but another perfect example of a guy who hits the ball. And when I said that he was one of my favorite buys coming into A-ball and performing that well, everyone reached out to me and was like, oh, he's just Steven Kwan. He can't hit homers. I'm like, he's 18 years old. The guy makes contact like a college hitter who came over from internationally. And what did he do like 2 weeks later? He hit like 3 homers in 2 games, a ton of extra base hits, and now he's got a ton of pop where he's going to be a consensus top 75, top 100 prospect. So follow To The Bigs, keep up with us. Our Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell on the Farm Report every other Wednesday on YouTube, and everything that we do. We drop these guys early. So if you get with us, you see these prospects, you'll buy them before the markets go up. Maybe just like a couple of these guys we just called out.
Hope you guys like that. I know that we are generally, you hear me talking from here, but I promise on the show, we'll be doing more interviews, doing things like that, and on the social media, of course. So really hope you enjoyed that. Let's go straight into AMA, and then we got it Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell at the end. So stay tuned. They got a ton of good stuff. First question, when should you move on from a prospect? Now, This is pretty general, and there are a ton of variables. But I'm going to drop the Bowman market write-up that I dropped several months ago, and essentially tells you that for 99% of prospects, here is how the market plays and when you should buy, hold, or sell a prospect. It's one of my favorite write-ups I've done. Any Bowman collector should read it. Ignore the very few long-term superstars who you think will be big in the majors or guys that you just love. This is talking about how the market plays out for the generalized prospect community, which is like 99% of prospects. A big name prospect who's struggling at a certain level, you give it time. So you do not sell at that point. You'll see me mention the sell prospects who are hot. That's generally what I would like to do, is anytime you have a prospect and he is steaming hot, you probably want to sell because, like I said, it's nothing against the long-term value of that prospect, but you have to take control and take advantage of that premium. The Bowman markets, a lot of people invest a lot of money in prospects, but don't really understand the actual market. The market is not performance-driven, long-term performance-driven. People will be like, oh, this first base prospect, he's never going to be Freddie Freeman. Why is he going for 3 times the value of Freddie Freeman right now? Because it's not about what the prospect is for the long term. It's what the prospect could be. It's like that funny, I don't know if anyone ever watched Silicon Valley, where the show at HBO about the tech startup, and the funny, what was he, a private equity guy comes in, he goes, no, we don't want to make money. We want to have the potential to make a ton of money long term. And that's the thing. You want a guy who could be the next superstar of the big leagues, but if the guy is a really, really good all-star potential player in the big leagues, it's not as much, right? You think about the value in prospects, in players that are major league players. There's about 7 to 10 monster players that have value. It's Bobby Witt, it's Shohei Ohtani, it's Aaron Judge, it's, I say Corbin Carroll, but even he, for how good he is, doesn't get the value. Yordan Alvarez doesn't get the prices that he is for being a Hall of Fame type hitter. So that's exactly my point. That's why you have to sell a lot of these guys on that premium. So when you should move on from a prospect, if they're truly, truly struggling for a long period of time and you could still make some money off them, you want to sell, then you sell. But even guys that are really, really hot, you probably want to take advantage of that market, sell, and move on. Now, again, a lot of variables, a lot of generalization there, but that's how you have to look at this. It's all based on probabilities. Stop. I called out this was probably one of my favorite questions that's ever been asked. What will the Bowman card market, how will it react to a possible lockout next year? Again, if there's a lockout, there's no baseball. All the flippers, all the guys who collect every sport, Pokemon, all of that, they will all leave, right? They'll likely sell most of their prospects. They'll hold some, but there won't be as much transaction. Prices will all drop. Values will all drop. That's what's going to happen no matter what. When you don't have baseball, you don't have these up and downs. You don't have an Eric Hartman. You don't have a Murf Gray. You don't have guys that you could buy in for cheap and make a ton of money off of because they just are who they are. And there's no reason to see a jump or anything based off of like a quick performance or things like that. What you should do, buy long-term holds, younger kids. For that exact reason. I think some of the like 22, 23, 24-year-olds who are in AA, AAA may get impacted more because, again, that's a lost year, right? They don't get called up. There's no potential of call up. It's just a year behind. But if you buy the 18, 19-year-old, which I generally don't love to do, they have a year. They're still going to play in the Arizona Fall League probably, or play in summer leagues, go back and play in international leagues. So you want to load up on those guys that are still going to be really young, can still develop, come back in 2028 and be just fine. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a lockout, but that's how I would play it if I was going to do so and and it was looking like there was going to be a lockout. Next, which moves have me confused? Call-ups, demotions, etc. I'm going to say a demotion first. Diamondbacks, why did you drop and send Ryan Walchman down? Why? There's no reason. They've called up other guys. They have spots in the utility space. Ryan Walchman should not be in AAA. And what did he do right when they sent him down? He hit a couple homers. He's hitting the ball extremely well. I get Gurriel came back up, but you still have space for another outfielder on that team. There's no reason why Ryan Walchman should be in AAA, regardless of the depth chart. End of story. Number one. Everything else is well past that. But let's talk about some more. Not so much confused. Khalil Watson for the Cleveland Guardians, he should have gotten the call, but it's more importantly just kind of serving up that Cooper Ingle is getting outfield spot starts over the past few weeks, and that's going to be his job eventually. Like, he'll get that call up if he's not going to be a long-term catcher. They will make sure he can play the outfield so that he could be a guy this summer, so keep an eye on him. Why is Cade Anderson still in AA? Not a demotion, not a call-up. It's really just a general, why are they not doing any of these things? I get it's honestly probably tougher in AA than AAA, but all of the Seattle Mariners pitching decisions are ridiculous. First, they went to a 6-man rotation. Then they went to piggybacking. Then they called that they were going to do a 6-man rotation again, and now they're piggybacking again. Bryce Miller's an unbelievable pitcher, and you got Luis Castillo coming in after him. Cade Anderson should get the call soon. I actually think when I said Mike Soroto, maybe the guy that goes from AA to the pros directly, it could be Cade Anderson as well, so let's see. How about this one? IL prospects that are going to come back who should keep an eye on. So I'll start with Washington Nationals pitchers. Now you're going to say Sikora, yes, but how about Alejandro Rosario? Ace upside. This kid is probably going to come back early next year, but this is a guy who I loved as like a number one pitching rotation type of player that they traded for in that Mackenzie Gore deal, who I think is going to be a super sleeper pick from that trade. Not even speaking of Devin Fitzgerald. Speaking of ace upside pitchers, Gaden Scarborough, to the Bigs favorite truly, came back from injury and has looked like that ace. So people are still catching on, but I hope you listened and you caught on early because he is that type of pitcher. Next up, I mentioned Jaron Jones, and Stags mentioned him in our write-ups. He's on the 7-day IL. He's a really good college hitter, so let's see him come in and continue to have that impressive season in A-levels and get that call up. Next up, Aiden Miller. I don't know when he's coming back. I just want to hear some news on him swinging a baseball bat, but when he does, let's hear it, and I really want to keep an eye on him. But how about a guy who's going to come back soon? Josue Briseño, Detroit Tigers, guy I've really liked. I said he's going to be a top 15 prospect going into next year. With this injury, it's going to be hard for him to do so, but he's healthy and should be back either end of this month or early next month, and I'm really excited to see him play. And another guy who just got back, Dax Kilby, was my number one chase in Bowman draft. Really excited to see that progression off of that really good start last year in his pro debut. Questions about Luis Lara, Brady Ebel. So really generalizing, talking about the Milwaukee Brewers farm system, which is one of my favorite systems in all of baseball. Jesus Mate is very pricey, but he's star upside, of course. And you also have Jackson Chourio, who I know sounds crazy because he's been in the league for like 2.5 years, but he's like 20 years old, so he's still like a prospect in my eyes. Outside of those guys, there's really only 2 prospects I'm truly buying in this org, and I mentioned them in my favorites call out. It's Braylon Payne and Josh Adamshevsky. Why? The upside is there, the value is there, where even though they're getting more expensive, they're not like that crazy expensive monstrous premium right now. Similar to like Luis Pena, who I really like, but for the contact issues, things that he's kind of have to work on this year, the price tag is really expensive for someone who, if I'm going to spend that money, I'm going to go Jesus Mate. Brady Ebel, I like. I have an auto sitting around here somewhere, but the ceiling just isn't there for me. I think he's a good hitter. And again, if I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to get a guy like Josh Adamshevsky rather than Brady Ebel. Not to say I don't like him, just when I'm talking about value on specific guys. I think he's a good prospect, a good hitting prospect who can move up fairly quickly, especially in that org. Luis Lara, I've liked for a while. I actually think he's a really good prospect. Same thing, star potential. Is he a top of the order type of prospect for them? I don't know. I'm not sold on it, so I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to buy on him. Again, 2 really good prospects, but if I'm buying in that org, I'm buying the premium prospects with the upside, which are Josh Adamshevsky and Braylon Payne, who are going for a reasonable rate right now. Okay, everyone's favorite segment, Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell. I'm super excited about these. Again, 2 of the Bigs Insiders got first dibs, then Instagram. I've covered a lot of guys. Every week, I feel like I keep getting more and more guys in this, so you'll start to see more and more. Now I have 8 of them, so let's dive in. First up, Daniel Ortiz, St. Louis Cardinals. $7 first Bowman, super cheap. I'm going to hold. He's been out with a wrist injury for a while. He's now back in AA after a quick rehab assignment. This is a big boy. He's like 230, 235 in weight. Good OBP, 21 years old, third baseman in AA, an exit velocity monster. So that big body isn't just for looks. He hits the ball hard. He's another one of those iffy corner infielders. I know like Blaze Jordan, but like, can he play third? Probably not. Can he move to first? He quietly steals a ton of bases and is fast, which is interesting why he can't really figure it out completely in the field. But based off the positioning, I'm taking the hold here. See if he could stick at third base and pump that power up in AA without losing contact. More of like a cheap flyer here, but I'm not necessarily buying in until we see some consistency in AA and see how he plays out in the field. Next up, how about a big name that everyone's talking about? Bo Davidson, San Francisco Giants, $22 for his first Bowman base. The power is there, but the increase in power is coming at a cost of contact. Smashing the ball, 42% hard hit rate, but doesn't walk much. The walk rate is cut in half year over year. The contact slightly down, the average is down, the batting average on balls in play is down. I don't see any reason why he can't push his way up to the pros and be a solid hitter, but remember what I talked about. Take the nice premium on the market that is getting shown right now. He's a $22 first Bowman, but it's going up, so keep an eye out and probably sell. Next up, another San Francisco Giant, Giancarlo Cio, $10 first Bowman. I'm selling. I think this is a flash in the pan type of performance. He's having a really good year, but the swing rate dropped, the power's up. This is a strict risk reward play. I'm buying Bo Davidson before Carlos Cio, but I'm buying Gavin Fien before either of them. So again, you have to look at other prospects in the organization specifically that you could take that who have better upside, all of that. Again, Bo Davidson probably better upside. Carlos Cio, I'm definitely selling. Davidson, I wouldn't hate if you held, but again, you have to take that premium. Next up, Gavin Fien, Washington Nationals, was a shortstop, now developing into an outfielder, was a top chase of mine in 2025 Bowman draft. I honestly didn't think his market dropped that much, but $23 for a first Bowman. K rate's high. There's some risk because he's a young prep kid, but I am buying. I like the early summer development. The June numbers are what we've been waiting for. 1.075 OPS, 4 homer, 23 RBI, 15 games. Scorching hot. Initially drafted as a shortstop, like I said, he'll be looking like he'll be an outfielder, which I think helps because you have Fitzgerald, Seaver King, Eli Willits taking up that infield spots. So I like the fact that he can find a path in 2028, possibly 2029. Chase Harlan actually just made my favorites and sleepers part 1 for the Dodgers as a sleeper pick. So you would think I'm going to buy, right? Because he made my sleepers picks. But he's a $40 first Bowman. That's expensive. So I'm not going to sell, but I'm going to hold him. I love the upside. I love him as a sleeper pick, but maybe he's not as much of a sleeper in the Bowman market. This is one of those interesting prospects where there's a lot of guys who outperform their analysis. They're hitting really well, but go unnoticed. The Bowman market doesn't react right away. And those are the guys you always want to find. This one's interesting. He's hitting really well. He's much more expensive than I thought he was going to be. Let me read my analysis though, so you know how much I do like this kid. A monster power potential bat who in his second A-ball stint is showing improvements in his hit tool. Entire slash lines up, leading to a 300 plus point increase in OPS. 19 years old, he's already dropped his K rate by 5 percentage points. Walk rate up 3.5 percentage points. Swing rate is down 8 percentage points, so he's more patient, and his swinging strike rate is down 3.5%. Taking more pitches, leading to better at-bats and better contact. The opposite of prototypical to the Bigs profile, but an intriguing one. Raw power and has developed a hit tool and in-game power. I'm holding him because he's pricey. Don't take that profit just yet. Let's see him kind of keep getting his name out there. Next up, Ty Pete, St. Louis Cardinals. He was traded from the Seattle Mariners in a deal that could be looking really good for the Cardinals. 875 OPS, 31% K rate, hits the ball hard, but he's got a really, really low contact rate. So you'd think I would sell. I'm going to hold. I don't say this often about kids with that consistent of a high K rate, but just watch the video, man. Watch the tape. This kid is fun. The K rate is nuts, but he's only 20 years old in high A, and he's a big kid who could play shortstop or the outfield really well. Fast, power, hard hit, big kid. I'm not buying anyone with these underlying metrics, but he's absolutely worth a hold to see if he could develop into one of those guys that can get that K rate down and get that walk rate up, which he significantly needs to do, work on that approach. Next up, Yairo Padilla. This is a guy who is really exciting. St. Louis Cardinals again. You guys know this though. There's rarely a prospect I buy before he touches stateside ball. This kid has been in DSL complex leagues for the past 2 years. He got hurt, so he's back there, but it's not going to be long. He's doing like a quick rehab stint and then coming over. But in the 40 total rookie level games, he's absolutely crushing it. But I got to see when he comes over. The shoulder injury was a tough one, but he'll get the call any day to A-ball because he'll be done with that rehab assignment. 6'1" switch hitting shortstop, big power upside, good hit tool, could move off shortstop eventually, but that's fine. He's just an insane raw tools power play. I'd much rather wait instead of buy. Again, $25 market right now. I would rather spend $40 when he comes over to A-ball and shows that he can hit if the market goes up than to buy in on a really toolsy international prospect that hasn't touched stateside. So I am a hold on Padilla. And finally, another international prospect coming over, Andrew Salas of the Miami Marlins. What do I love about him? He doesn't chase that much. What I don't love, he's got a slow swing, which leads to a high K rate anyway. He's just swinging and missing at a lot of stuff. Plus, he's got a limited power upside, even for his size. $18 Bowman, first Bowman autograph. I'm going to sell. His exit velos are super low, struggled mightily in 2 A-ball stints. And again, I wouldn't give up on him so soon, but I never really loved the prospect. So I want to see that improvement more than what he's already done. There's no reason to give up on him. So if you're having him and you want to hold him, please be my guest. I just wasn't a huge fan to begin with. Coveted prospect with a good build, nice tools. But in my opinion, when it comes to young international prospects who are struggling, as you guys know, the Bowman market moves fast. There's a whole new slate of international prospects coming with high potential that guys will pay big money for. So just sell on him. And if he figures it out, go ahead and rebuy. The prices won't shoot up after a couple of struggling stints if he decides to figure it out for a month or two. So right now, I'm a sell. To recap, let's go through them all. Ortiz, hold. Davidson, sell. Carlosio, sell. Gavin Fien, buy. Harlan, hold. Typeed, hold. Yairo Padilla, hold. And Andrew Salas, sell. You may think to yourself, he doesn't really give that many buy ratings. I know, that's the point. As prospectors, look at 99% of prospects don't make it. You have to be super targeted with your long-term buys. That's why these are going to be hard, and that's why if you call out a prospect for me, it's going to be hard for me to give him a buy. But I will give my buys. I've given plenty of them, and look at how those guys have done, because I want to make sure that I give you guys the buy ratings for guys that I know will be good. That is Bowman Buy-Hold-Sell. That is our episode, guys. Thank you. It's a long one, but I hope really detailed, a lot in here, ton of prospects we call out. Again, check out all of our interviews with Chris Suero, Santucci, more to come. I have a ton coming up in the next few weeks and even more content. Thank you guys. Join to the Bigs Insiders, like and subscribe. I can't wait for episode 9 in 2 weeks already. I got so much I want to talk about, even more. Thank you guys.